Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna watch a video. Like I said, a bit more background knowledge about the founding of Rome, because in the video you saw on the right, the entire history of Rome we watched yesterday. We had like the story about Romulus and Remus, but really the story about the founding of the kingdom of Rome, or kingdoms, or we will see. So I choose to search a video called How Was Rome Actually Created? The entire history of the foundation of the city of Rome, where we'll get maybe the real back knowledge, and we can check how much is true from the Romulus and Remus story and how much not. So we will continue with the video entire history of Rome in the next video, and hope you enjoyed this one. I hope we can add something, and without further ado, let's get started.
Hey guys, this is the start of a new series on our channel in which we will cover the whole history of the Roman Empire.
Maybe later after the full video we will check out this story, because it will cover as well as the other video. I choose the other one because it was pretty popular in the last few days or months, and maybe we'll check out this one after that and compare these videos. We will see.
Rome.
So, for my back knowledge is that the Greek colonization in the, I guess, starting in the 5th century BC, covered actually this area, and they were all over, like all over the Mediterranean area, and especially Sicily and this area. I don't know what it's called, this coastline in Italy. But we have a lot of colonies there, a bit down in the south, where later the Naples will be founded. I think on one of the islands there was a famous Greek colony. I had some courses about that. But, maybe they're one of the ones founding one of these cities that maybe led to Rome. Because, like I said in the last video, the Aeneas story. Supposed to be like the pre-story for Rome. Aeneas came after the Trojan War to the area and found one of the folks that turned out to be Rome later.
The name itself evokes vivid thoughts and imagery of papacy, an empire, a republic, and seemingly endless history. But how did it all begin? Before Rome could become the legendary city and beyond that it is today, it had to start somewhere. The story of...
And like most cities, city foundings, it was on a river. With some, the river is like perfect, because you need the fresh water, you need some land around that is perfect for agriculture because of the water. And it is close to the sea, so I mean, that's probably not one of the first ideas when founding a city at that time period, but later, because fish is one of maybe a great resource, but I think that's too far to be relevant for the city right now.
The founding of Rome is a tale that was often told by the Romans as the earliest history of their ancient city. As the legend goes,
we probably get a recap
Rome
right now,
was
right?
founded on April 22nd, 753 BC by twin brothers Romulus and Remus. The boys were the son of Rhea Silvia, a daughter of King Numitor of Alba Longa, who was impregnated by the god of war, Mars.
Yeah.
When the twins were born, King Numitor's younger brother, who had previously deposed the king, attempted to have the boys murdered by drowning them in the Tiber River in hopes to avoid any new rivals to the throne. Somehow...
And I feel like the story of drowning children in the river is like a fan favorite in history, because we have it, I guess, in the Moses story. Wasn't Moses? They didn't try to not drown him, but to save him actually. But because the river, which is the Tiber here, is often really interwebbed into the musical because it had like such an in the such a huge role in the religion and mythical being because it's very important for their life.
The infant survived
You
and
know what I mean.
eventually washed ashore near Palatine Hill. Here, the legend has it that they were suckled by a she-wolf and later found by Faustulus, a local shepherd. He and his wife took the boys in. And with age, Romulus and Remus became leaders of a group of shepherd warriors before finding out about their true.
I really like the animation style. I'm sorry I turned up the settings because it's like really shitty. Because I'm in Germany, and Germany, great internet is a privilege, but not expect. Because no, the internet here is really shit. I'm really lucky that
Lineage.
here in my apartment, I don't know. Yeah, it's not important.
Knowing that they had a valid claim to Alba Longa, the twins launched an attack on the city, assassinating their great uncle and placing their grandfather back on the throne. They then decided to found their own city nearby, at the site where they suckled from the she-wolf as babies. But a conflict between the brothers ended with Romulus murdering his brother.
Another fan favorite in history and mythological stories, another Bible story.
And
I wonder
Romulus
how much. Yeah, I love that actually.
alone then founded the city of Rome, named after none other than himself. Romulus now had to address the obvious problem of somehow populating his new town, which currently
Alone.
had
That's
no
also
woman.
always funny. Or did they imagine he was with some man he gathered, or was he really just alone, founding and building a whole city? More like
To overcome this obstacle, Romulus devised a plan to invite his neighbors, the Sabines, to a festival at which he had their woman kidnapped. This, unsurprisingly, triggered armed conflicts between the new Romans and the Sabines. But thankfully for Romulus, the abducted woman actually came to mediate and insisted on putting an end to the war before Rome could be captured. The subsequent peace treaty allowed for the merging of the two kingdoms and made both Romulus and the Sabine king Titus Tatius the population's authority. Additionally, to help with the growth of Rome, Romulus invited both exiles and fugitives to come and seek asylum in his kingdom. By the time that his counterpart, King
maybe
Titus,
I'm thinking
died,
about jumping this part because I'm not really interested in the not real story about that. So
of course, is only one theory as to how Rome came
we want to hear the true story.
to be. The somewhat
maybe
outlandish
theories.
tale has been questioned by many historians over the years, and other hypotheses concerning how Rome was founded exist and have been supported by some curious figures.
I mean, it doesn't really sound like a theory at all. I mean, it's like a mythological tale, and if you don't know, think about the founding of cities like Sparta, which we talked about in one of the earlier videos, as the Heraclids reclaiming the land and founding both dual kingdom. I mean, you have probably a small historical core, which is then the Doric migration. It's so different from the story that you can't really call it a theory about the founding because people see.
For one, Strabo, a Greek historian, wrote of another tale that claims an Arcadian colony first occupied what would become Rome, and the city itself was founded by a Greek man from Arcadia named Evander. According to Strabo, a Roman...
It's more explanation of Greek colonization, which is at this time a huge role in the Mediterranean area for the city foundings. A lot of cities still from today, like Naples. I'm not sure how much of Naples was really the colony, but Marseille, I think, is one of the examples of Greek colony.
Historian Lucius Coelius Antipater also agreed with this theory. Still, another belief is that Rome was founded by Romos, a son of King Odysseus and Circe. which would have made the Romans of Greek descent and may have become an unfavorable fact as discord with the Greeks began to grow. Martin P. Nilsson, a Swedish scholar, explains that this theory may, in fact, have once been the main story of Rome's birth. But as the concept of Greek...
I'm checking out again because of the Ionis story. I'm pretty sure there's also this Ionis. Ionis. About the Ionis, he went to Rome and killed us one of the fathers of Rome, and founded and was a local leader in Latium, which is the area around Rome, right? And he says he's the founder of Alba Longa, which we had from the mythological founder from Alba Longa, which is the city we had in the Romulus and Remus story. So maybe we come to that
ancestry
because that's, I think,
became
the
more embarrassing
famous
for the
one
Romans.
as this one.
They likely would have tweaked the story, changing the name of Romos to the native name of Romulus. But the name Romos, which later turned into the native name of Remus, was never fully forgotten, and would account for the story of two founders, not just one. Further lending to the possibility of having a potentially hidden Greek descent, in his satire The Caesars, Emperor Julian is said to have had Alexander the Great say to the Romans, "I am aware that you Romans are yourselves descended from the Greeks."
To be fair, this is what the Greek tell the Romans after 400 years after the supposed founding, or 500 years.
And yet another
can't really
option
give something about that.
is that the Trojan prince Aeneas
this is the one I
actually
knew.
founded Rome, as described by Virgil, a Roman poet, in his epic known as Aeneid. Both Emperor Augustus and Julius Caesar are said to have been descendants of Prince Aeneas as well. Historically speaking, regardless of how Rome was truly founded, we know that there were supposedly 7 kings in total
now we get probably
during
to
the
the
first
core.
era of establishment, beginning with Romulus and eventually ending with the Etruscan kings. The final 3 monarchs of this civilization were Priscus, Tullius, and Superbus. A problem is evident with not necessarily the belief that the last 3 kings were Etruscan, but with the limited number of kings in total. If only 7 kings reigned over...
7 is really not a long time, so we have probably missing some there, and I feel like these are the ones that we know for maybe pretty sure from the facts that the Republic of Rome maybe wrote down, and the rest is more like a
243
mythological.
years, that would average roughly 35 years per monarch, which has been
pretty
strongly
long,
discredited.
especially because aren't there really tyrants that get chased out at the end, and tyrants maybe don't last that long.
By modern historians. While it is possible that Rome could have been ruled by only 7 kings in its first years,
probably is also 7 is such a mythological charged number. Maybe they went with that because they had no other names, and they told themselves 7 is a great number to finish off the kingdom of.
There is no way
Rome.
to prove the unlikely claim due to the lack of contemporary evidence. When the Gauls sacked Rome during the Battle of Alia in the 4th century BC, they destroyed a large amount of Rome's existing records, and many of the rest became lost or damaged.
Which we probably get to in the didn't know about the sack of Rome by the Gauls, but we would probably go there by in the other video
over the following
in the Republic of Rome.
One way or another, Rome's foundation as a monarchy came to an end in 509 BC, when the Romans finally gained control back from the Etruscan people who had been ruling over them for the past 3 reigns.
I'm wondering, are we sure that who are the Romans, if not are so different than Etruscans, or maybe are they one of the one? What where do Roman people come from? If not Etruscan, if the surrounding area is all Etruscan, that's my question. Maybe we'll get to there.
Story goes, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, the last king, was deposed after his son Sextus Tarquinius committed a heinous crime against Lucretia, a noblewoman, which resulted in her death. Lucretia's father, husband, and even the king's nephew came together with the goal of punishing the royal family by overthrowing
that's where the mind they were thrown out because they were like,
both the Roman military and Senate decided to support this coup.
Yeah.
Not only would King Tarquinius be overthrown, but the kingship in its entirety would be abolished by the Senate, and the majority of his duties were instead transferred to 2 elected consuls. Each consul would act as a type of checks and balances for each other, with each term lasting only 1 year.
Which is really not one of it's an early great idea, and I'm wondering which year this is because let me check. In 509 BC, which is really interesting because right now, like I said, I am studying history and we have doing a topic about political history, and we actually have like in the beginning of the 5th or 500 BC, there's like the start of in Greek in Greece, we have the start of fight against oligarchy and the coming up of the idea of like we have the democracy, and not the way we know it now, but the ideas of democracy and not even like some republican ideas, not calling them like that, but ideas of that, of people being equal. And yeah, that's at the same time as Rome is starting the Roman Republic. It's pretty curious and shows that they are still in the whole Mediterranean, or like between Greece and the Rome, some these timeline connections, which I really wonder how they come together.
And any consul
Is there that much communication between them that ideas like that can spread over this time?
At the mercy of the law if they abuse their power while in office. The first 2 consuls were Brutus and Colentinus, although the latter was a relative of the deposed king and was eventually forced to give up his position and go into exile. Publius,
but he would have just had 1 year, right?
Valerius Publicola would take Colentinus's place as the second consul. King Tarquinius did make a few attempts to regain his throne and re-establish the Roman monarchy, such as with the Tarquinian conspiracy the same year of his removal, and 2 battles within the Roman-Etruscan wars shortly after. The former king proved disappointingly unsuccessful, and the Republic remained. At this point in time, while the Republic may have been an improvement from the monarchy, it still was not like a democracy.
No, it probably all long or never really will be, but you have it's not more in the monarchy you have one really strong family ruling with and over, but of course you have to rule with them, or you get the post, like you said, with both them. But in a good functioning republic, even if it's a oligarchy like we have here, where some aristocrats are ruling, you have a bit more split of power. The idea of the really common folk, and even in Greece, where we have the democracy, there is still not everyone is ruling, especially like, or has a vote, like women, women, slaves, people from foreign countries or foreign regions. So the thrive to be a democracy is not there. So I feel like you can't use modern standards for that, but I feel like that's a really good development, and it's one that made Rome famous, or made made Rome really successful, not only in Italy but in the Mediterranean area as a republic. Right? I'm sorry,
Instead,
my
the
English today is
Senate, which
a
was
bit
made
down.
up of purely aristocrats or patricians, were responsible for voting in each consul for every term, and the lower classes, known as the plebeians, did not possess
Which
any
of terms
title.
I have, of course, heard, but I hadn't the Banes like the normal folks. I hadn't really in mind what they meant, but that's really pointful information for the next video. I wonder how much longer we go on because I don't want to spoil me for the next video
of
or for the other
power
video.
to challenge or influence decisions made by the Senate. Additionally, there were notable efforts made to separate and distinguish the varying levels of society. Marriage between patricians and plebeians was strictly forbidden. As the republic aged and developed,
normal,
the plebeians did slowly begin to gain more and more influence and power, including eventually
preventing marriages between the plebeians and the patrician. I mean, of course, as a patricians, you want to close your class, keep the power to yourself, and marriage is one of the most famous ways or most common ways to share power or make connections, get people in upper classes, widen the classes, and that's just what they want to prevent.
Becoming eligible for the position of consul, but the patricians essentially maintained their overall authority by means of their wealth. Another curious feature of the early Roman Republic was the way it dealt with emergencies. In the case of, for example, a military...
I feel like we're going to stop here and go back to the other video because the point which I want to get is how Rome was founded, or what are the theories or what are the possibilities. I heard the Roman theory, the Greek theories that is a Greek colony or founded by Greeks, and the history of the kings, which we didn't really have. In the other video, it was like Romulus, and then after that, few kings, and the end. Yeah. I think I like the video. I like the animation style, but maybe we'll check it out after I finish this video over here. And thank you guys for watching. If you like this, maybe check my next video out. We will continue with the entire history of Rome, and after that, I will do a full series maybe over Rome. And this here looks pretty interesting as well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you